I mean, he had a stretcher, he had oxygen. I was like, just because I won, why don't I get any oxygen? I need the oxygen just as bad. I remember we were vomiting in the toilet backstage at the same toilet in the medic room because we were so exhausted. Like we both needed oxygen. We both sat there at the toilet. We were like, nice fight. But I mean, because just pure exhaustion and also having a concussion, I had a few stitches under my chin from the shots. So I mean, that was really one of the toughest fights I've ever had. So UFC 24 versus JC Lambrecht. He was also a young gun. That was my first main card fight in the UFC. I had 2 wins before that. My first 2 fights, this is my 3rd professional fight. And it was a big fight. He was a youngster coming up. I was a youngster. He was on a few fight win streak. I was 19, he was 22. So it was basically the battle of the youngsters. So that was a massive fight for me. I had a fight 3 weeks prior to that where I actually fractured my shin bone. And when we had to take this fight, it was the first main card, and it was also a fight to get me into the top 10 or top 5 at least sooner than expected. And we took that fight. So I couldn't kick with one leg. I only had one leg to kick with. But it was a massive fight. It was I remember that was probably one of the most stressful fights because it was basically who's going to go through to the next level, who's going to go to the losers pool, who's going to go to the winners pool of the 2 youngsters. So that was a big fight. And I mean, it definitely delivered. It was the fight of the night, second to the fight of the year. And I mean, when I went out there, I just knew I landed the first 5 seconds of the fight. I landed a clean head kick straight to his face, and it was a hard head kick. And usually when I hit people with that head kick, they go down. And when I hit him, he didn't even flinch. He just went right through, and I knew this is going to be a long night at the office. I knew this is going to be a tough fight. And I mean, he just stormed forward and I was going forward, and it was a big brawl. It wasn't a technical fight at all. It was such a big brawl. Eventually he took me down, and on the ground it was just a scramble, and then I was on top, then he was on top. Literally from the first round till the 3rd, he would be on top for maybe 30 seconds and I would reverse it and I'm on top and throwing punches, and then he'd be on top again and we'll get back to the feet, and then he'll get the takedown, then I'll get the takedown. It was such a back and forth fight, but going in after the first round, I was so tired. That's the first time. My first 2 fights both finished within 2 minutes. This fight, after the first 5-minute round, I was like, wow, I couldn't even breathe. I was like, my coach asked me in the corner, "What, are you okay? Are you good?" And I'm like, no, I'm not okay. I think I'm gonna die. Just because the pace was so intense, and I saw him smiling in his corner and he was looking pretty fresh, and I was like, this is terrible. I just looked at him and I'm like, I'm not going to be beaten mentally, but he doesn't look tired. Like, I can't even hide being tired. You can see I'm tired. Like, there's no hiding it. And second round came in exactly, we started exactly where the first round left off, just going at it, banging it. I had a submission on in that second round that I can't believe he got out. Like, I choked him and his face went blue, and he was just about to tap and his face literally went blue. And I couldn't hold it. I was too tired. I choked him for about 10 seconds, and people tap to that always. And I just couldn't finish it. I was too tired. My arms gassed out. And I mean, he was so tough. He just didn't want to go out. And I was just like, come on, man, give up. And back to the feet, it was just a scramble all the way through. And after the second round, I was just as tired as after the first round. I was basically that tired for the rest of the remaining fight. And after the second round, I could see he was really looking bad. Like, I could see him struggling to his corner. I could see his corner, and his face was all blue because of the choke. And I could see he was struggling as well. And at least that made me feel better. Even though I was super tired of that second round, it made me feel better to see that he actually gets tired as well. Third round going in, my coach told me you're up 2 rounds, because I definitely got the better of him. I would believe on the points. I ended up on top. I had most top control, and I landed more shots in the stand-up. And my coach was like, second round, he was like, you are too tired to do anything. Make sure you stay out of his way. Make sure you move around. You know, just play out the round. There's 5 minutes left. You're winning this fight. You're definitely going to win the fight. And I was like, I don't have 5 more minutes in me. I'll have to finish this. I want to finish fights. That's what I want to do. I don't want to go to adjust a decision and get a terrible decision, or even stay in here for any longer. I want to finish this ASAP. And I went out there in the third round, and just like I said, just like the first and second, just left off, started banging. I lost my mouth guard. The ref put it back in, and for the first time in my life, I got rocked with a punch. I went in for an elbow, and he just threw, and my chin was way up. He threw an overhand, and he rocked me. And I mean, I was almost out of it. As I walked back, he stormed forward to finish it off, and I just threw a punch because I could see him coming, and I just threw a punch, and I landed straight, and I dropped him with that punch. And as he dropped to the floor, I was so tired, I just fell on top of him, got his back, and I got the choke in. And I remember that was literally the last bit of energy I had left. I've never wanted to give up in a fight as much as in that fight. I was like, if he gets out of this, I'm done. And I choked and I choked and I choked, and just after a while I could feel his feet starting to tap, and then he was like, I need tap. And then we both were just exhausted. We didn't even, nobody stood up, nobody celebrated. When I choked him, I just fell next to him, and I mean, he had a stretcher, he had oxygen. I was like, just because I won, why don't I get any oxygen? I need the oxygen just as bad. I remember we were vomiting in the toilet backstage, at the same toilet in the medical room, because we were so exhausted. Like, we both needed oxygen. We both sat there at the toilet and we were like, nice fight. But I mean, because just pure exhaustion and also having a concussion, I had a few stitches under my chin from the shots. So I mean, that was really one of the toughest fights I've ever had.